The cold winds of Epsilon Prime howled across the barren landscape, whipping against the weathered structures of humanity's most isolated colony. Hyun Park stood at the observation deck of the central administrative building, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he watched the desolate terrain stretch endlessly before him. Epsilon Prime was not a welcoming world. Rocky plains punctuated by jagged mountain ranges dominated the landscape, with toxic winds carrying metallic dust that slowly corroded everything it touched. The colonists had been here for nearly 3 generations, each successive group becoming more resilient, more adapted to the harsh environment. 12,000 colonists remained, down from the original 30,000 who had first landed 50 years ago. Survival was a daily battle against the planet's unforgiving conditions. Water came from underground glacial reserves, carefully processed through complex filtration systems. Food was primarily grown in massive underground hydroponic chambers, engineered to maximize nutrition and minimize resource consumption. Jun Kim, the colony's chief engineer, walked into the observation room. His face was weathered, lines etched deeply from years of constant problem-solving and mechanical repairs. "We've got another atmospheric filter failing in Sector 7, he reported, his voice steady and matter-of-fact. Hyun nodded, understanding the implications. Every mechanical failure brought them closer to potential catastrophe. Their technology was aging, replacement parts were scarce, and communication with Earth was sporadic at best. The last official transmission had come 3 years ago, a simple data packet confirming their continued existence. The colony's original mission had been one of exploration and potential terraforming. Now it was simply about survival. Each colonist knew their role, their precise function in maintaining the delicate balance that kept them alive. Children were trained from early ages in multiple disciplines: engineering, agriculture, medical, support, and survival skills. Their settlement was a marvel of human engineering. Nestled within a protective mountain range, the primary complex was partially underground, shielded from the planet's harsh radiation and extreme temperature fluctuations. Thick metallic walls, constructed from locally mined resources and reinforced, with advanced composite materials, protected them from external threats. A warning alarm suddenly cut through the quiet. Jun's tablet flickered with diagnostic information. "Perimeter sensors are detecting unusual electromagnetic disturbances," he said, his tone shifting from routine to cautious. Hyun moved closer to the monitoring screens. Strange energy signatures were appearing at the edge of their scanning range. Something was approaching, something that didn't match any known environmental pattern they had previously recorded. The colony's defensive systems, while outdated, were still functional. Automated weapon platforms, carefully maintained by skilled technicians, could be activated at a moment's notice. But resources for major defensive actions were limited. "Run a full-spectrum analysis," Hyun instructed. Years of leadership had taught him that unexpected readings often preceded significant events. Whether those events were positive or negative remained to be seen. Jun's fingers danced across the holographic interface, pulling up complex data streams and running multiple computational scenarios. His expertise in system integration was legendary among the colonists. If anyone could interpret these unusual readings, it would be him. Minutes passed. The silence was thick with tension. Outside, the metallic winds continued their relentless assault on the colony's exterior, carrying microscopic particles that seemed to whisper ancient, unintelligible warnings. Young technicians monitored their stations with a mixture of professionalism and barely contained curiosity. They had been raised on stories of potential external threats, trained to remain calm but always prepared. Their parents and grandparents had established a culture of resilience that defined the Epsilon Prime colony. Something was coming, something that would change everything they knew about their isolated existence. The colony held its collective breath, waiting. In the observation room, Hyun and Jun exchanged a single, meaningful glance. Whatever was approaching would test their limits, their technology, and their very survival. Epsilon Prime had survived decades of isolation, mechanical failures, and planetary hostility. Now they would face their greatest challenge yet. The unknown approached, silent and mysterious, promising transformation or destruction. The orbital shipyards of Earth glimmered like a metallic constellation against the darkness of space. Here, among intricate scaffolding and advanced engineering platforms, the USS Prometheus stood as a testament to human technological ambition. Not just another starship, but a prototype that represented the cutting edge of human military and exploratory capabilities. Captain Sung-Ho Lee walked the length of the ship's bridge, his movements precise and calculated. Every step echoed with potential. With the weight of technological innovation, the Prometheus was more than a vessel. It was a complex machine that pushed the boundaries of human engineering. Advanced quantum-fold propulsion systems hummed beneath the ship's sleek exterior. Unlike traditional spacecraft, this prototype could manipulate spacetime itself, creating shortcuts through the vast emptiness of space. Most military strategists considered the technology too experimental, too risky, for standard deployment. The ship's core was a marvel of engineering. Adaptive quantum processors worked in perfect synchronization, capable of making millions of calculations per millisecond. Weapon systems that could adapt and reconfigure themselves in microseconds. Defensive shields that could predict and counter potential threats before they even materialized. Lee's senior technical officer, Min-Ho Choi, monitored the final system calibrations. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces, running complex diagnostic tests. Years of training and preparation had led to this moment. A ship that could potentially change the entire approach to space exploration and defense. Quantum. Drive stability at 97.6%, Min-Ho reported, his voice calm and professional. All primary and secondary systems are functioning within optimal parameters. The ship represented a massive investment, billions of credits, years of research, and the collective efforts of humanity's best scientists and engineers. Yet, most military leadership remained skeptical. The Prometheus was too advanced, too different from conventional spacecraft design. Political debates had raged for months. Military commanders argued about the ship's practicality. Some saw it as a waste of resources, others as a potential game-changer in humanity's space defense strategy. Captain Lee had fought hard to be selected as its commander, knowing the prototype's potential. Specialized training had prepared Lee for this moment. Simulations, advanced tactical scenarios, and psychological evaluations had tested his ability to handle the Prometheus's unique capabilities. He understood the ship was not just a weapon, but a complex system that required intuition and adaptive thinking. The ship's AI system, named ARIA, represented another breakthrough. Unlike previous artificial intelligence platforms, ARIA could learn, adapt, and make strategic decisions in real time. It was more than a computer. It was a collaborative intelligence that worked in perfect harmony with human operators. Final system check complete, ARIA's neutral voice announced through the bridge's communication systems. Quantum drive prepared for potential deployment. Outside the shipyard, Earth looked like a beautiful blue marble suspended in the infinite darkness. Humanity's home planet seemed both fragile and powerful, a reminder of the species' potential and limitations. Lee reviewed the mission parameters. No specific deployment had been authorized. The Prometheus was essentially a floating technological demonstration, a proof of concept that challenged traditional spacecraft design. But Lee knew that somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the ship's potential might soon be tested. Rumors had been circulating about potential threats. Unconfirmed reports of alien reconnaissance, mysterious energy signatures detected at the edges of human-controlled space. Most dismissed these as speculation, but Lee had learned to pay attention to such whispers. The ship's weapon systems were unlike anything previously developed. Adaptive energy projection arrays could reconfigure themselves instantaneously. Quantum entangled communication systems allowed for near-instantaneous data transfer across impossible distances. Every component represented a leap forward in human technological capability. Min-Ho looked up from his console, a rare smile crossing his typically serious face. "She's ready, Captain," he said, patting the ship's control interface almost affectionately. The Prometheus was more than a machine. It was a potential savior, a symbol of human ingenuity. Captain Lee stood at the center of the bridge, feeling the ship's energy around him. Something told him their moment was coming. Somewhere in the Ayao, vast, dark expanse of space, the Prometheus would prove its worth. The ship waited, silent and powerful, ready to write a new chapter in human space exploration. The quantum drive hummed with an electric intensity as the USS Prometheus materialized near Epsilon Prime. Space itself seemed to ripple and fold around, the prototype battleship, creating a momentary distortion that would have been invisible to lesser detection systems. Captain Sung-Ho Lee's eyes narrowed as the alien fleet came into view. The Vornak vessels were unlike anything humanity had encountered before. Organic-looking ships that seemed to pulse with an unnatural, almost living energy. They moved with a predatory precision, surrounding the human colony like hungry wolves preparing to strike. "Aria, tactical analysis," Lee commanded, his voice steady and calm. The ship's AI responded instantly, detecting 17 primary Vornak vessels, biological technological hybrid design, estimated combat capabilities significantly above standard human defensive technologies. The colony below looked vulnerable. Epsilon Prime's defensive systems were outdated, its shields barely functional. The Vornak had chosen their target carefully, a human settlement isolated and seemingly defenseless. Tactical Officer Yoon-ji, Park's hands flew across the control interface. Quantum weapon systems charging. Adaptive shield modulation preparing to counter unknown alien defensive capabilities. Lee watched the alien fleet. They hadn't detected the Prometheus yet, a critical advantage. The prototype's quantum camouflage systems made it virtually invisible until the moment of engagement. "Full combat readiness," Lee ordered. "Prepare quantum strike sequence." The first volley came without warning. The Prometheus unleashed a barrage of quantum adaptive energy weapons that defied conventional physics. Each projectile could change its molecular structure mid-flight, adapting to penetrate different types of shielding. The Vornak fleet erupted in chaos. Their first 3 vessels disintegrated before they could even attempt a defensive maneuver. The ships didn't just explode. They came apart at the molecular level, scattered into atomic dust. "Direct hits confirmed," Aria reported. Enemy fleet, experiencing complete systemic failure. But the Vornak were not defeated easily. The remaining vessels began a complex defensive pattern, their organic technological design allowing for rapid reconfiguration. Energy weapons that looked like living tendrils shot out, probing the Prometheus's defenses. Yoon-ji Park anticipated their movements. Quantum shield modulation at 98% efficiency, redirecting excess energy from weapon systems to defensive capabilities. The battle became a dance of technological superiority. Each Vornak attack was met with a counter that seemed to predict and neutralize their offensive strategies before they could fully form. The Prometheus moved with a fluidity that defied traditional space combat principles. Lee watched the tactical display, making split-second decisions that pushed the ship's experimental systems to their absolute limits. This was more than a battle. It was a demonstration of human technological potential. 5 more enemy vessels neutralized, Aria announced. The AI's voice carried a hint of what might have been satisfaction. The remaining Vornak ships began to retreat. Their collective intelligence recognized an unwinnable scenario. They had encountered a technological barrier they couldn't comprehend or overcome. "Pursuit?" Yoon-ji asked, her finger hovering over the tactical control. Lee shook his head. "Negative. Our primary objective is colony protection." His eyes remained fixed on the tactical display, watching the alien fleets retreat. Below them, the colonists of Epsilon Prime watched in awe. Sensors detected the entire engagement, a battle that lasted mere minutes but would change everything they understood about their place in the universe. "Colony communication channels open," Aria reported. "Detecting multiple life signs, no immediate casualties." The Prometheus had done more than just defend. It had made a statement about human technological capabilities. The ship hung in orbit, a silent guardian, its quantum drive still humming with untapped potential. Captain Lee allowed himself a small smile. The experimental prototype had proven itself beyond any military committee's wildest expectations. They had not just survived an alien encounter, they had completely dominated it. "Prepare comprehensive scan of the colony," Lee commanded. "We're going to ensure their complete safety." Outside, space remained silent. The scattered atomic remains of Vornak vessels drifted quietly, a testament to humanity's unexpected technological leap. The Prometheus had arrived, and nothing would be the same again. The bridge of the Prometheus hummed with a quiet intensity that spoke of incredible technological potential. Captain Sung-Ho Lee watched the tactical displays, understanding that this battle was more than a simple military engagement. It was a demonstration of human innovation that would reshape galactic understanding. Area. The ship's advanced artificial intelligence processed information at speeds beyond human comprehension. Quantum algorithms predicted alien movement patterns with mathematical precision. Each Vornak tactical approach was neutralized before it could fully develop, like a complex chess game where one player could see every possible move simultaneously. Tactical Officer Yoonji Park manipulated holographic interfaces with surgical precision. Her fingers danced across quantum adaptive control systems that could reconfigure weapon capabilities in microseconds. The ship's targeting systems were not just advanced, they were revolutionary. Weapon system optimization at 99.7%. Area reported. Predictive engagement protocols functioning beyond theoretical parameters. The remaining Vornak vessels attempted to regroup, but their collective intelligence was overwhelmed. They had encountered a technological barrier that defied their understanding. Humanity had leapfrogged multiple technological generations in a single engagement. Quantum-fold weapon systems created impossible trajectories. Energy weapons could bend around traditional defensive structures, striking with pinpoint accuracy that seemed to violate known physical laws. Each shot was calculated with such precision that it appeared almost magical. Analyzing alien technological infrastructure, Area continued, detecting multiple systemic vulnerabilities in Vornak ship design. The battle became a clinical demonstration of technological superiority. Where traditional human spacecraft would have struggled, the Prometheus moved with an almost living intelligence. Weapon systems adapted in real time, shields reconfigured instantaneously, and combat strategies evolved faster than the alien fleet could comprehend. Min-Ho Choi, the ship's chief engineer, monitored complex energy systems. "Quantum drive efficiency at maximum," he reported. "We're consuming less than 12% of potential energy capabilities." Psychological warfare became an unexpected weapon. Each destroyed Vornak vessel was broadcast across alien communication frequencies. The message was clear and devastating. Humanity was no longer a species to be underestimated. The ship's adaptive AI began decoding Vornak communication protocols. Within minutes, it had translated their entire communication network, understanding their strategic approaches, technological limitations, and collective decision-making processes. Complete communication network infiltration achieved, Area announced. There was something almost clinical in the AI's tone, a perfect blend of mathematical precision and strategic understanding. Yoonji watched the tactical display, her breath caught between professional calm and pure amazement. The Prometheus was rewriting the rules of space combat. Traditional military strategies seemed primitive in comparison to this quantum adaptive approach. Energy weapons that could change molecular structure mid-flight. Shields that could predict and neutralize threats before they materialized. Communication. Systems that could decode and manipulate alien networks in real time. This was not just a spacecraft, it was a technological marvel that represented humanity's potential. The remaining Vornak vessels began a desperate retreat. Their collective intelligence recognized an insurmountable technological gap. They had encountered a species that could not just defend itself, but completely dominate any potential conflict. Pursuit. Protocols? Min-Ho asked, looking at Captain Lee. Lee shook his head. The message had been sent. Pursuit would be unnecessary and potentially provocative. The Prometheus had demonstrated its capabilities. The galaxy would now understand humanity's technological potential. Area continued processing data. Terabytes of information were analyzed, cataloged, and stored within milliseconds. The engagement would become a case study in technological adaptation, a moment that would be studied by military strategists for generations. Battle analysis complete. Area reported, 0 human casualties, 100% mission objective achievement. Captain Lee allowed himself a momentary smile. The experimental prototype had done more than defend a colony. It had announced humanity's arrival on the galactic stage with a demonstration of technological superiority that was impossible to ignore. The Prometheus remained in orbit, a silent guardian. Its quantum drive continued to hum, a promise of potential, a testament to human innovation, and a warning to any who might consider challenging humanity's place in the universe. Space remained silent, but everything had changed. The Prometheus hung in orbit like a metal guardian, its quantum systems already beginning the most complex rescue operation in human colonial history. Captain Sung-Ho Lee watched as advanced fabrication systems powered up, preparing to transform Epsilon Prime's struggling infrastructure. Hyun Park, the colony's administrator, stood in disbelief. The shipyard's quantum fabricators began materializing entire infrastructure components. Medical facilities, water purification systems, and defensive technologies appeared as if conjured by magic. What would have taken years of human labor was now happening in mere hours. Area's voice echoed through the colony's communication systems. Initiating comprehensive reconstruction protocol. Estimated completion time, 72 hours. Massive nanite swarms deployed from the Prometheus's external systems. They moved across the colony's landscape like intelligent liquid metal, repairing damaged structures, reinforcing critical infrastructure, and cleaning environmental contamination. Buildings that had been slowly deteriorating for decades suddenly looked brand new. Advanced medical fabrication units began producing specialized medical equipment. Genetic repair technologies that could address generations of environmental damage were carefully distributed. The colony's healthcare systems, which had been struggling with limited resources, were completely transformed. Atmospheric processors initializing, Area reported. The toxic winds that had plagued the colony for decades began to change. Filtration systems integrated directly into the planetary environment, promising breathable air for the first time in generations. Jun Kim, the colony's chief engineer, watched in pure amazement. Systems that would have taken decades to develop were being implemented in hours. The quantum fabrication technology was beyond anything he had ever imagined. Agricultural reconstruction became a priority. Underground hydroponic chambers were completely redesigned. Genetic modification systems began improving crop yields, ensuring the colony's long-term food security. Plants that could survive in the harshest conditions were developed and integrated within hours. Total environmental transformation at 42%, Area announced. Projected colony sustainability increased by 786%. The colonists moved between wonder and disbelief. Children who had known only struggle watched as their world transformed. Entire neighborhoods were rebuilt. Critical infrastructure appeared overnight, and hope returned in ways they had never experienced. Captain Lee understood this was more than a rescue mission. It was a demonstration of humanity's potential to overcome seemingly impossible challenges. The Prometheus represented not just technological superiority, but a commitment to human survival. Energy systems were completely redesigned. Quantum power generators replaced the colony's aging infrastructure. Clean, unlimited energy became available for the first time. Manufacturing capabilities expanded exponentially. What had been a struggling settlement became a potential technological hub. Defensive systems received the most comprehensive upgrade. Advanced shield generators, adaptive weapon platforms, and quantum detection systems were integrated into the colony's infrastructure. Epsilon Prime was no longer vulnerable. It was now a fortress. Colony defense systems at maximum efficiency, area reported. Potential threat scenarios reduced by 99.4%. Hyun Park approached Captain Lee, unable to find words to express their gratitude. The transformation was beyond anything they could have imagined. A dying colony had been given a second chance at not just survival, but potential excellence. Medical technologies addressed generational health issues. Genetic repair systems began healing decades of environmental damage. Children who had been born with limited life expectations now had full, healthy futures ahead of them. Complete reconstruction protocols approaching final stages, Arya announced. The AI's voice carried a sense of clinical satisfaction. The Prometheus began its final systems check. Its mission was complete. A colony saved, a technological demonstration delivered, and a message sent to the galaxy about humanity's capabilities. Captain Lee looked at the transformed landscape. What had been a struggling, isolated colony was now a beacon of human potential. The Vornak attack had become an opportunity for complete renewal. As the quantum drive prepared for potential future missions, the colony below stood as a testament to human resilience. Epsilon Prime was no longer just a survival settlement. It had become something more, a symbol of what humanity could achieve when technology, determination, and hope came together. The stars watched silently. Humanity had written another chapter in its ongoing story of survival and innovation.